Kerensky arrests the Tsar and his family and announces that free elections are to be held. Political prisoners are freed and some food is distributed. But in a country without experience in self-government, dissident elements of all shades struggle to convince still hungry people that their particular road leads to salvation. Russia's participation in the European war is unpopular. When it becomes clear that Kerensky means to continue it, the German General Staff arranges for the return of Lenin, who has been exiled by the Tsarist government. Leon Trotsky arrives a month later from Canada. Summer 1917, Kerensky becomes head of the provisional government and proclaims Russia a republic, universal suffrage, power to be vested in an elected constituent assembly, freedom of speech and press, equal rights for women. Lenin speaks on the Kerensky Republic.
A democratic republic, more free under war conditions than any other country in the world.
But in November, Lenin and Trotsky, as leaders of a huge farmer worker army union called the Soviet, call for destruction of the republic.
They imagine that serious political questions are decided by voting. As a matter of fact, they are decided by class war.
The class war is quick and relatively bloodless. Lenin's Bolsheviki seize the railroad stations, telegraph lines, electric plants, and government offices, and declare themselves in business. On November 25th, the election Kerensky had called is held under the control of Lenin's Bolsheviki, who, to their amazement, lose 3-1. The assembly thus elected meets under the guns of Trotsky's Red Army, refuses for a time to turn power over to the Soviet, but finally leaves the building. The following day, a few thousand citizens gather outside the building to protest against the dismissal of the assembly they have elected, and are promptly shot down by Trotsky's Red Army.
Not by voting, by class war.
Citizens of the Soviet Union still vote, but not since November 1917, as more than one name per office appeared on the ballot. The assembly never reconvenes. Power passes to the Soviet, which Lenin controls, and from there to the Council of Commissars, where Lenin's power is absolute.
This is the dictatorship of the proletariat, a power won and maintained by violence, power that is unrestricted by any laws, resting directly on force. Keep this well in mind.
Lenin makes peace with the Germans, but now a genuine civil war breaks out in Russia. The White Russians rebel against the Reds' peace effort. Allied troops fight to keep Russia in the war. Cossacks fight for both sides. Tsarists rise up to restore the monarchy. The Tsar and his family are executed. And the Cheka, first of many Soviet secret police groups, becomes active. Arrest without charge, imprisonment or exile without trial, disappearance without explanation, all become routine. But Lenin complains.
There is still too little ruthlessness. Not because we lack determination, but because we do not know how to capture enough profiteers, marauders, capitalists.
The signposts along the road read, peace, freedom, and bread. Because they understood that freedom and bread could be theirs only when peace was obtained, the workers and sailors of Kronstadt have fought a bloody civil war. Now, on March 7th, 1921, they mill in the streets, asking for freedom and bread. Finally, at 6:45 in the evening, Trotsky, commander of the Red Army, who ordered the slaughter, gives the only explanation.
It was necessary.
Lenin and Trotsky are now firmly in power. The Cheka is abolished. In its place comes the OGPU, or political police. And to check on the OGPU, there is Rabkrin, the Workers' and Peasants' Inspection Group, whose chief is Joseph Stalin. He disputes Trotsky's position as Lenin's second in command and heir apparent. In the struggle, Stalin has the support of Zinoviev, chief of the Communist International, and of Kamenev, city leader of Moscow, who could make you a judge or send you to Siberia. Now, with the Civil War won, Lenin eases the demands for belt-tightening and public sacrifice. Out of economic necessity, he institutes a new policy. Emphasis is placed on production of consumer goods, but the state maintains control of heavy industry. Even private enterprise is permitted within limits. And a new phrase, American aid, enters the Russian vocabulary. By March 1922, the American Relief Administration under Herbert Hoover is feeding 10 million Russians. But in March 1923, Lenin suffers a stroke. The following January, he is dead. Stalin, Zinoviev, and Kamenev force Trotsky into exile. Then Stalin overrules his two associates and ends the new economic policy.